sets out for Malta. Ballard and Steger lead an expedition to relocate and study the mysterious wreck. At stake is their conviction that the combined strengths of oceanography and archaeology can make history.
Well, you know, when we found the Titanic, we found the Bismarck, we found the Yorktown, we knew they existed. They really weren't a discovery, they were a relocation. These are true discoveries. These are chapters of human history we don't know about. And I actually think they're much more important.
Still, this expedition begins like any other.
I had my stuff sitting here for 2 days. I forgot. I had that fake alarm.
Okay, ladies and gents, make sure your life jackets are right before I shout you out, else I'll give you to Albert. Okay?
Safety training is mandatory for everyone on board. 49 scientists, engineers, programmers, ship's mates, and graduate students.
When you jump in, what's the correct way to hold your life jacket and your nose? Smash it. Why do you have to hold your life?
Landlubber or sea dog, no one is exempt. No one.
Hey Bob, I thought you could swim.
Larry! Hello, Larry. There's your card.
Okay.
Okay. That's all right. Can't get any tighter.
Can't get it tighter, no.
Can't get any tighter.
No.
The Northern Horizon has been transformed into a floating research facility. Over 55 tons of equipment were shipped from the United States. Several larger items have been welded to the deck. For nearly 2 decades, Ballard has worked with an expert team out of Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute. Martin Bowen and Andy Bowen have been key members of many expeditions.
Right, exactly.
Inside, Steger's archaeology team has established its own headquarters.
Hey team, excuse me. I just got some interesting information from Bob. He just gave me the coordinates. They're right on the ancient routes that some have predicted between the cedars of Lebanon and Egypt. And that route
His team includes 4 graduate students, as well as an expert on ancient ships, nautical archaeologist Shelley Waxman of Texas A&M University.
These ships might have had pretty wide, beamy hulls and so forth.
They seem from all the iconography that we have from this period that the merchant ships were extremely beamy and broad-hulled.
Yeah.
If this dates to around 700 BC, this is the first ship ever found that dates to that time period. And you have to remember that ships tell the story of history. I mean, there's nothing that man ever made that was not carried on a ship, including the pyramids. Stone by stone, not in not in one shot. And each one of these are literally a time capsule. They went down in one moment, like that. And everything they were carrying on it at that one time went down together, and that tells us a story.
To reach the coordinates provided by the Navy will take about 5 days. This is the calm before the storm.
We are very relaxed right now, which is great. I mean, people are charging their batteries, getting sleep. We just did the testing of the ship. Everything's proceeding smoothly. But once we get on site, it'll kick in to around the clock. And you'll see people break up into 3 watches, and there will always be a team at work 24 hours a day.
Susan and Michael have the most difficult schedule in some ways because they work from 12 noon to 4 p.m. And then from 4 p.m. to midnight, they have to sleep. And that's a tough time to go to sleep at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But the reason they have to do that is because at 12 midnight, they have to get back up and work the 12 midnight to 4 a.m. shift. Exactly.
And that's where everything's happening.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like, from what they said, that the midnight to 4 a.m. shift actually is a time when a lot of things do happen.
On the Northern Horizon, navigation involves a global positioning system and computer-controlled propulsion. But a few thousand years ago, a sea captain had to rely on somewhat higher powers. The very heavens were his guide. He probably spent a lifetime committing constellations to memory, observing the shifting angle of the sun. The special temper of each wind and the season of its coming. The powerful currents hidden beneath the waves. All these may have been the secrets of his trade. Surely he watched for seabirds, heralds of an approaching shore, and for landmarks familiar as a friendly face. But the nearness of land was not necessarily a comfort, and he likely kept his ship at quite a distance.
Well, generally, the common wisdom has it that for safety, the ancient mariners hugged the coast. But when you think about it, the last thing an ancient mariner ever wanted to see during a storm was a quickly approaching lee shore. Plus, there was piracy, and piracy wasn't the type that you see in the movies in the Caribbean, where you're just sailing around in the middle of nowhere and suddenly another ship comes out, but rather they would watch from shore. So you don't want to stay too close to shore, and if somebody comes out to attack you, you want to have that leeway to get out of the way.
It's day 5 and nearly midnight when the northern horizon arrives on sight.